Have you ever solved an equation like x plus 5 equals 10? It seems simple, right? But did you know that the very methods we use to solve this, the very concept of x as an unknown, can be traced back to one brilliant mind from over 1,000 years ago? Today, we read journeying back to the golden age of Islamic science to uncover the story of a man whose name is literally embedded in the words we use for math, Muhammad ibn Musa Al-Khwarizmi. He's often called the father of algebra, but his story is so much bigger than that. He didn't just give us a new way to do math. He fundamentally changed how we understand the world. So how did this scholar from ancient Khwarazm lay the groundwork for the algorithms that power our computers and the GPS that guides our cars? Stick around because the story of Al-Khwarizmi is a tale of genius, innovation, and a legacy that quietly shapes our modern lives every single day. Our story begins around the year 780 in a region known as Khwarazm, which is part of modern-day Uzbekistan. This is where Muhammad ibn Musa Al-Khwarizmi was born. While details about his early life are scarce, we know he came of age during the truly remarkable period. The Abbasid Caliphate was in power, and its capital, Baghdad, was rapidly becoming the world's intellectual and cultural epicenter. It was a time of immense curiosity, where scholars were actively encouraged to gather, translate, and build upon the knowledge of ancient civilizations like the Greeks, Indians, and Persians. It was in this vibrant environment that a young, brilliant Al-Khwarizmi would find his calling. Around the year 820, Al-Khwarizmi was invited to join the most prestigious intellectual institution of his time, the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. This wasn't just a library. It was a thriving academy, a translation hub, and a research center all in one. Under the patronage of the Caliph Al-Man, the House of Wisdom attracted the brightest minds from across the known world. Here, among fellow mathematicians, astronomers, and philosophers, Al-Khwarizmi had access to an unprecedented collection of scientific texts. It was in this melting pot of ideas that he would produce his most revolutionary work. Imagine being surrounded by the collected wisdom of centuries, tasked not just with preserving it, but with advancing it. This was the world of Al-Khwarizmi, and he was about to make his mark. His most famous work, completed around 830, has a title that might sound complicated: Al-Kitab al-Mukhtasar al-Jabr al-Muqabala. But what it translates to is the compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing. Notice that word in the middle? Al-Jabr. Yes, this is where we get the modern word algebra. But what did al-Jabr and al-Muqabala mean to him? They were a set of rules for manipulating equations. Al-Jabr meant restoring or completion, which referred to the process of moving a negative term from one side of an equation to the other to make it positive. For example, changing x squared equals 40x 4x squared to 5x squared equals 40 by. Al-Muqabala meant balancing, which involved subtracting the same quantity from both sides. Using our example, 5x squared equals 40x could be reduced to 5x equals 40. This might seem elementary to us now, but it was absolutely groundbreaking. Before Al-Khwarizmi, mathematicians solved problems using specific, often clumsy, geometric or rhetorical methods. Al-Khwarizmi introduced a systematic, abstract way to solve a whole class of problems, particularly quadratic equations. He demonstrated that by using his methods of al-Jabr and al-Muqabala, any linear or quadratic equation could be reduced to one of 6 standard forms. He wasn't just solving individual problems. He was creating a universal toolkit. For the first time, algebra was presented as a distinct mathematical discipline, separate from geometry with its own principles and methods. He effectively gave us the language to describe and solve for the unknown, which is the very essence of algebra. But Al-Khwarizmi's genius didn't stop with algebra. He wrote another incredibly influential book that introduced a revolutionary concept to the Western world: the Hindu-Arabic numeral system. That's right, the numbers we use every day, 0, 1, 2, 3, through 9. Before Al-Khwarizmi, Europeans were still struggling with cumbersome Roman numerals. Imagine trying to multiply CXE by 47. It's a nightmare. Al-Khwarizmi's book, whose title translates to On the Calculation with Hindu Numerals, demonstrated the elegance and efficiency of this new system. He showed how, with just 10 symbols and the concept of place value, any number could be represented and complex calculations like multiplication and division could be performed with ease. He was also a champion of the number 0, showing its crucial role as a placeholder. When his work was translated into Latin in the 12th century, it sparked a mathematical revolution in Europe. The book was known as Algoritmi de Numero Indorum, which means al-Khwarizmi on the Hindu art of reckoning. Scholars were so closely associated with his methods that his own name, al-Khwarizmi, became the Latin word algoritmi, which eventually evolved into the English word we use today, algorithm. Think about that. Every time you use a search engine, follow a recipe, or use a computer program, you are using an algorithm, a step-by-step procedure for solving a problem, a concept whose name echoes back to this 9th century master. He literally gave his name to the foundation of modern computing. Beyond pure mathematics, al-Khwarizmi was also a brilliant astronomer and geographer. He was part of a team commissioned by Caliph al-Ma'mun to create a map of the world. He improved upon the work of the ancient Greek geographer Ptolemy, correcting his data and providing a more accurate picture of the world. His book, Kiprat al-Arg, or The Image of the Earth, included the coordinates for over 2,400 cities and geographical features. This wasn't just a list. It was a systematic project to map the known world with unprecedented mathematical precision. He also compiled a set of astronomical tables, known as a GJ, which were crucial for calculating the positions of the sun, moon, and planets. These tables were used by astronomers for centuries and were instrumental in navigation and timekeeping. His work helped sailors navigate the seas and help people determine the direction of Mecca for prayer. His contributions were practical, tangible, and had a direct impact on the lives of people in his time and beyond. Al-Khwarizmi's legacy is quite simply immense. He is the bridge that connects the mathematics of the ancient world to the mathematics of the modern era. He took the abstract number theory of the Indians and the geometric traditions of the Greeks, synthesized them, and created something entirely new. His systematic approach to algebra provided the foundation for centuries of mathematical development, leading directly to the work of figures like Fibonacci, Descartes, and Newton. Without the language of algebra, the scientific revolution might have taken a very different course. Physics, engineering, and chemistry all rely on the ability to model the world with equations, a gift from al-Khwarizmi. And his popularization of the Hindu-Arabic numerals, along with the concept of the algorithm, is arguably even more impactful. This system became the universal language of commerce, science, and technology. The digital world we live in, built on binary code and complex algorithms, is a direct descendant of the principles he championed over 1,200 years ago. From your smartphone's processor to the financial models that run the global economy, the ghost of algorithm is everywhere. He was more than a mathematician. He was an architect of the modern way we think and calculate. Muhammad ibn Musa Al-Khwarizmi passed away around the year 850, but his work ensured his immortality. He was a product of his time, a golden age of curiosity and intellectual exchange, but he was also a visionary who propelled that age forward. He showed us how to solve for X, but in doing so, he gave us the tools to solve countless other unknowns about our world. His story is a powerful reminder that the simple, elegant ideas are often the most revolutionary, and that the pursuit of knowledge can echo through centuries, changing the world in ways the originator could never have imagined. The next time you solve a simple equation or use your phone's navigation, take a moment to remember the scholar from Baghdad whose name is woven into the very fabric of our logical world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed learning about the father of algebra, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more stories about the hidden figures who shaped our world. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to learn about next. Until then, stay curious.